When I was a young man and I was kind of going through the different trainings, like there was a time when I had to jump out of a plane, a halo jump, which is a very high altitude, low opening. And I was scared. I was 17 years old. And I had never even left Bakersfield, but I was a wrestler and I did judo as a kid, so I was an athlete, but I was scared to jump out of the plane. And I said, if I really want to do this, I have to be able to do it, right? If you want to win, you got to be willing to lose.
This is Small Business Celebration, where we introduce you to successful small business owners at their place of business so that you can learn something that you can use today to grow a strong and profitable business and get your next big breakthrough. Hey Josh, we're interviewing a technology company today, and I really wish I had like a book or something on present day, modern, bleeding edge, cutting edge of the art technology. AutoCAD 2000? Welcome to another fantastic episode of Small Business Celebration. In this episode, we're going to be talking about creative ways to help your inner circle make more valued connections. We're also going to be talking about selling the gaps or finding the gaps for your client and how to map that out so you can help your customer. And the guys through all this is Xavier Canez, the owner of 2X Broadband and partner in Torq MSP. Welcome to Small Business Celebration.
Thank you for having me, Michael. I really appreciate this opportunity.
And for Visioneers who don't know who you and what is it that you do?
My name is Xavier Canez, and I have been running my own companies for many years. 2X Broadband is an internet and phone provider that supports companies in rural areas. Torq MSP is an IT company, so we do IT support. We also do digital marketing. We also do social media management, and we leverage your brand so that you can get more customers and invoice quicker. That's our goal.
You were in the Air Force.
I was in the Air Force.
What was your experience like?
See, I went in August of 2000, which was right before 9/11.
Right.
And after that, I was deployed 7 times to many different countries. Some of them were in the Middle East, and some of them were in South America, working on different counter-drug operations, and some of them were in the Horn of Africa.
What did your experience on those deployments teach you that you applied to the business you now own?
I established something that I've created. It's a tag phrase because I coach a lot of sports. I took my military experience and I applied it to business and coaching. And it's a word, it's called NEGU, NEGU. Okay. Never, ever give up.
There's got to be a story in there that you've learned this lesson the hard way.
When I was a young man and I was kind of going through the different trainings, like there was a time when I had to jump out of a plane, a halo jump, which is a very high altitude, low opening. And I was scared. I was 17 years old. And I had never even left Bakersfield, but I was a wrestler and I did judo as a kid, so I was an athlete, but I was scared to jump out of the plane. And I said, if I really want to do this, I have to be able to do it, right? If you want to win, you got to be willing to lose. And I jumped out of the plane, and when I was falling, the thought that came to me was never ever give up. If you want to win, whether it's personally, whether it's professionally, never ever give up.
What brought you to owning your first business?
I went to work when I was like 28 years old for a Fortune 100 company. And I became the #2 channel manager, which is like indirect sales,
right?
Working with other business owners.
Right.
So I was teaching the other business owners how to sell my product more effectively. And in that process, I was also doing my MBA, my master's degree in business management and marketing. And I said, why can't I do this for myself?
Right.
I took the leap in 2015, and that's when I started my first company, 2X Broadband. It originally started as 2X Communications.
Okay.
And then we kind of morphed it into something a little bit more.
Why'd you make the change?
So 2X Communications was more about consulting, right? And I had been in technology at that point for almost 10 years. And so I was like, I know what I'm doing, and I know how to connect business objectives to outcomes, right? So I said, okay, so let me start building solutions. So I went into consulting, and then I said, you know what? I'm going to change from just consulting to being a service provider. And so I changed because I was like, I have an opportunity to grow the company. And it's been around for 10 years and it's a healthy company, and I'm very grateful for it.
You managed to figure out how to translate tech into English.
One of the companies I worked for, a local IT company at the time, the owner's wife, her and I were really good friends, and she was my direct supervisor. And she told me at the time that I was a hybrid. And I didn't know what it meant because I was so young and I was still trying to figure out what my path was. She's like, a hybrid is somebody who can translate business objectives into technology, solutions into outcomes.
Both sides of the brain.
Both sides of the brain. So she told me, she's like, you're very much a hybrid. And then, so as I started to grow and continue to get better at what I did, a lot of people shotgunned all their solutions, and I didn't. I just rifled down and I used the military background to say, okay, let's be hyper-focused and hyper-fixated on the things that we can do.
What brought you to meeting Charles Sears, your partner at Torq MSP?
Charles is like my brother. Like, when we first met, I didn't like him very much.
Rule number 1 of business ownership, never ever have a business partner. Rule number 2, the best thing you could ever do is have a business partner.
Yeah. So Charles and I worked together previously at another company.
Right.
And he made a very interesting comment towards me, and I was just like, really? And then over the years, we communicated more. We got to know each other. We got to know about each other's families, our history, right? Charles is also a veteran, so we connected with that. And then, one day we just decided, we were at a local restaurant and we were having a sandwich, and I said, why don't we do this?
Right.
Like, let's do it.
Right.
And so,
Was it one margarita too many?
It was probably like 4 or 5 Mind Hazes.
That's always the best way to start a business relationship.
Shout out to Mind Haze.
And for what you've done now is you've done a blend of 2X Broadband and what Torq MSP is doing on the AI marketing side. How are the two working together, and why isn't there any conflict?
2X Broadband primarily focuses on the services that are outside of the building. Torq MSP focuses on the services that are needed inside the building.
Oh, okay.
Right? The ideal situation is, in the next year or so, I will be combining both companies. But they're so different that I got to be careful about how I do it.
Walk us through real quick for the business owner what you can do for them from the very beginning. They've got a new building, they got a new space. What does that look like for you?
So recently, we had a brand new restaurant open up here in town, right? And most people that want to start companies, they don't want to be IT people.
Right.
Nor do they know how.
Ditto.
Right? Technology is like smoke and mirrors.
It is.
Right?
It's magic.
It's magic. So what we do is we build out the actual physical infrastructure, and then we leverage the hardware to come in and be able so that they have uptime. Because in the end, if you're a restaurant, you got to be able to process what at the end of the meal?
Credit card.
Credit card. So if your network's down, you can't process the credit card.
Right.
You'll run it and it'll batch.
Right.
But it doesn't mean it'll clear.
Right.
So we design solutions for them to ensure that we get the proper outcomes. And the outcome is people come in, bill gets paid. So what we do is we say, okay, I'm gonna make sure that your network is up all the time and it's doing the thing it's supposed to do, which is work.
And you have the marketing to get people through the front door in the process.
And we also do on the marketing side, right? We do targeted ads, we do social media management, website management. So we're not just a cost center for your business. We are an income, right? So
revenue generator.
We're a revenue generator. It's one of the things I talk about with my whole team. As I say, there's 2 types of activities in business: non-revenue generating and revenue generating. And the revenue generating I do during the day, and the non I do after.
And if the revenue that's being generated here by Torq MSP and 2X Broadband Services is doing so well that you want to go ahead and get a new house, might I suggest you reach out to Mike Saba, a Zillow Premier Agent with Watson Realty, born and raised and never left Bakersfield. Give Mike Saba a call at 661-203-8406 or reach him at mikesaba1@icloud.com today. And if you've got a question, you've got a thought, something you'd like to learn about here on Small Business Celebration, reach out to us on LinkedIn, Facebook, and Instagram, and your question could appear here on Small Business Celebration, just like Jessica, who asks, we're looking for a creative way to introduce our close network of business owners to fresh connections. What's been working for you?
That is an absolute fantastic question. So I have been doing something very unique for a long time. So I have a lot of friends in the business space, right? A lot of business owners, a lot of service providers.
Let's back up one. Let's talk about, first of all, why it's important for you to have business owners succeed around you.
One of the philosophies that I've lived by, right, ever since I was a young man in the military, right, is as a team, you got to work together, right? So if you put we before I, life will change. So I've always lived by this one phrase, we can all do better together. So the way that I approach my business owner and my friends and my clients is, how can I help you? Like, just from a problem solving perspective. If I'm your IT provider, how can I help you get to the next level? So I took that same philosophy to, how do I network better? How can I help you? Right? There's an old saying, it's called giver's gain.
Right.
Right? And we all know that to be true. So for my business owner friends, it's like, I want them to succeed, because if I can help them get to the next level and I'm part of that journey,
right,
then I've done my job as a friend and as a business owner.
And what is the process that you're using to help your network of friends succeed?
I used to always go to networking events. I used to always go to golf tournaments and things like that and play in golf tournaments. You know, pretty good golfer, so I get invited all the time.
Right.
But it was a couple years ago, I changed the way I wanted to do it. I was like, I don't need to play in the golf tournament. I just need to be in the golf tournament.
Right.
And so I started being there as typically, I'll go cook food, I'll go make tacos, I'll go do whatever it takes, right? But in that process, I said, you know what? Being in the tournament is better than playing in the tournament.
Right.
Because I'm only playing with the 3 guys I'm playing with. So I changed my thought process and I said, okay, I have an idea. So I went to my CPA, my financial advisor. I went to my best friend who's a realtor. I went to my best friend who does car deal, all of the people that I trust in my circle, that I refer anyways. And I brought them all together for a lunch that I took care of, and I said, I want to create a referral group between the people we trust. I go, so whenever there's an event that you go to, we have a group text, and that text gets sent out. I'm here at Downtown Business Association.
Right.
I'm here at the Women's Business Conference, which is an amazing deal.
Right.
So we started leveraging all of the knowledge, because in the end, you don't know what you don't know.
And so you're going through, and we'll use the business conference as an example. You sit there and say, you text out into your text thread, I'm here at the conference, you should be here too.
Yes.
Why is this important?
In the end, you do business with people you trust. If I have a group of 10 friends and we all trust each other and believe that we're going to deliver the service we're going to deliver, that's where it matters, because that's where the referral comes from. So you can be introduced into circles and connections that you may not know.
Nice.
So you're leveraging your best friends, your best business partners, to help connect you with more opportunity.
How has this helped your business?
It's been phenomenal, right? I've taken a brand new startup company to, what'll be $1 million company in under 1 year.
You've used Torq MSP to get the word out through AI online, but what if you also need to get the word out with printed material? Might I suggest you reach out to Minimum Press of Bakersfield? Are you singing carols for the holidays yet? guess what? Your holiday cards are. Give Minimum Press of Bakersfield a call at 661-323-7757 or visit them at mmpbakersfield.com today. When you call, ask about their September 2025 holiday special. Get your holiday cards and holiday invitations ready now so you don't have to worry about them later. Call Minimum Press of Bakersfield at 661-323-7757 or visit them at mmpbakersfield.com today. And Visioneer's Minimum Press of Bakersfield is the sponsor of the Visioneer Game. Now, if you're not familiar with the way the game works, I have a random word generator here on my phone. I have no idea what the random words the generator is going to create, but more importantly, neither does our guest. Our guest has to take each of the words that I give him and somehow associate each word with his business. Now, Xavier, you do realize that if you get any of these words wrong, it's going to be absolute destitution, devastation, destruction, and any other D word I can think of that'll happen to the AI world, all because you got one of these words wrong. Are you ready?
Ready!
Okay, your first word is seminar.
Seminar. Well, at Torq MSP, one of the things we do offer is seminars where we talk about digital marketing, we talk about leveraging your technology, we offer business coaching because my partner Tracy Marchant is a business coach, and what she tries to do is help business owners like become more efficient, right? Kind of like the Six Sigma leaning out strategy, right? So we have a partner, Charles Sears, who offers AI coaching. And then on the technology side, we do that in the digital marketing. So we do offer seminars.
That is brilliant. Well done, you. Nice. Well done. I should ask the phone to give you harder ones than that.
What else you got?
And now it all comes down.
It's the final countdown? Is it the final countdown?
I can't use that. That's copyrighted.
Oh.
Fate.
Fate. 21 years ago, I was hurt in the military. I knew nothing about technology. And I hurt my neck really bad. That's why I'm a disabled veteran. And in that process, I met my IT guys as they were part of my unit. And they taught me how to work on a computer. They taught me how to use email. They set me up for my fate, which was running technology and being a technological dude, like running a tech company. It was fate. I got hurt because this was supposed to be my future.
Congratulations, the tech world is safe at last, all because of you. And because you've had this life-changing experience here on Small Business Celebration and the Visioneer Game, who would you like to thank?
You know, I really want to thank my partner, Charles Sears.
Really?
I mean,
because you didn't like him when you first started.
I didn't like him.
And now you're thanking him.
And there's still days I don't like him. But no, I want to thank him because he introduced me to you and we had a great conversation, and I'm really happy to be here. Like this is awesome. I've never really told my story of who I am, so I'm grateful for it. Thank you.
It's a privilege having you on because you're a dynamic person and somebody definitely Visioneer Nation needs to know. So we're glad to have you on.
Appreciate you.
And that brings us to our second Visioneer question, which is also brought to you by Mike Saba. Selling Bakersfield homes since 1992. Give Mike Saba a call at 661-203-8406 or reach him at mikesaba1@icloud.com today. Visioneer Donnie asks, we're training our team to spot gaps in prospects' processes. What approach or system have you found to be most effective?
Well, big shout out to Mike Saba for sponsoring the question. Appreciate you, man. As far as Donnie, your question goes, for the last 20 years, right, I've been in this kind of consulting role with different companies, whether it's agriculture, farming, oil support, medical, legal. I've been in a bunch of different companies. So I've learned a lot of things through different business owners, and because I'm in so many industries, I'm able to see kind of the commonalities between processes. One of the things that I do is I evaluate how communication flows and how the technology works, how you become more efficient. So as a business owner, as myself,
Right.
the one thing I look for is how quickly can I prospect quote, sell, deliver, and invoice.
Mm-hmm.
And those are typically the issues that most companies have, and that's where they get stuck. So what is causing the inefficiency? And if you strip it down to like those basic business tasks, where's the inefficiency? How do you get through those steps quicker? Because the quicker you do it, the more profitable you are. The longer it takes to get your money in, the less that money is valued at, right? Time, money, value. So that's how I analyze the companies I work with. Where's the miss? And once I find it, then I create the technology and design it to make it simpler.
Here's a curveball.
Oh boy.
Favorite technology joke. Go.
My favorite technology joke?
Yeah.
Is it data or data? It's both.
He's a Star Trek fan through and through, we can tell.
I am a Star Trek fan.
It's no secret that there are a lot of business owners who are struggling right now. What do you say to the business owner that is having a rough time and let them know that not all hope is lost?
There's a lot of easy jobs in this world. A lot of easy jobs. Being an entrepreneur, being a business owner, there's highs, there's lows, there's ups, there's downs. The buck stops with you though.
Right.
You don't get to hide, and there's a lot of different influences that affect how you run that business. If you love it and you have a passion for it, what did I say earlier? Never ever give up.
What about your genius son? What do you say to inspire him and let him know when it's a bad day that he can make it?
So my son did recently have a bad day. And I asked him, how do you feel? And he told me. And then I told him exactly what I would tell myself. Are you gonna ring the bell? He said, I don't know how to do that. Negu, never ever give up. It's the message I teach to my kids.
Xavier, this has been a real treat. Thank you for joining us here on Small Business Celebration.
I'm very excited that you invited me, and I'm very happy to be here. I've never shared some of the stuff that I've talked about today, and I'm glad I got an opportunity to do it.
Well, it's been a privilege having you on as well. And if our Visioneers want to learn more about you and what you got going on at 2X Broadband as well as Torq MSP, how do they do that?
You can go to torqmsp.com or 2xbroadband.com. You can reach me at Xavier at torqmsp.com. My phone number is 661-369-2961. Text me, call me. I'll be glad to have a conversation with you. One of my favorite things in life is talking to people. So you want to reach out to me, please call me.
And I'll be right back with my final thought. Watering the lawn with a garden hose. Watering the lawn with a garden hose. Several years ago, I was driving around town doing some errands, and I drove past a very successful Visioneer who owns a painting business. He paints houses and buildings, driveways, and all kinds of great stuff like that. And what struck me as rather odd is he has this very nice house with an absolutely beautiful front yard, and yet he is out there when it's 105, 107 in the peak of summer here in Bakersfield, and he's out there with a garden hose just kind of watering things away. And a couple weeks later, I ran into him at a function, and I remarked that I thought this was rather odd. With a house that's as beautiful as yours, why are you outside watering the lawn with a garden hose? And he looked at me, and he took a step back for a second, and he pushed his glasses up, and he said, well, you know, Michael, when I'm out there, it's really therapeutic. It gives me a chance to think about what's going on in my life and my family and my business. And, you know, and when I see a brown spot in the grass, I just give it a little bit of water, and gets better, or the tree isn't as green as it could be, I just water it a little bit and it gets better, or that bush over there needs some help, I give it a little bit of water and it all just seems to grow better. And I thought for a moment and I smiled and I said, sounds like that's kind of what you do with your business, isn't it? And he took a step back and he gave me a wry grin and he pushed his glasses up again and he said, yeah, Michael, I think that's about right too. Since then, I can't tell you how many times I've driven around town and I've seen very successful business owners out in the front yard of their house when it's 105 and 107 in the unbearable heat of Bakersfield summer. And they're out there watering the lawn. And just like their business, when there's a brown spot in the grass over there, they just give it a little bit of water and it grows better. Or the tree needs a little bit of help, they water it too. And that foliage that just isn't quite performing as well as it should, well, give it some love as well. And as a result, their houses are absolutely beautiful, immaculate, and show the fruits of their continual labor and the fruits of paying attention to the areas that need just a little bit of help, just a little bit of watering. For it's all about watering the lawn with a garden hose. I hope you enjoyed our conversation this week here on Small Business Celebration, and I hope you learned something that you can use today to grow a strong and profitable business. And we'll see you here again next week when we celebrate another small business making a big breakthrough.
I got the attention of a Fortune 100 president. I was 28 years old. I was in a very nice suit with Converse, a V-neck t-shirt, but I had a really nice watch on. And he said, "Who is this guy?" I didn't take myself too seriously, but I showed him good respect, and he realized that I was a normal dude, and he asked me, "Who am I?" And I told him who I was, and he said, "You're a solutions provider." I go and I solved some problems for him, and I ended up selling a massive infrastructure deal to Legoland across the entire globe. It was roughly a $40 million deal. The reason that big tech companies are talking about AI and how it can work for you as a business is when it comes to our biggest challenge, it is productivity and efficiency. And what AI does is it can create a whole new process, system, and organize everything that you do. And it's not about getting rid of your workforce. It's about leveraging your workforce so that they can be more productive and solve problems quicker. How you pitch the president of a Fortune 100 company? When I was a channel manager for CenturyLink, now called Lumen, I pitched many presidents, J. Crew, Merlin Entertainment, Legoland, Frederick's Hollywood. The first thing I pitched them was, what is the problem you're trying to solve? Where are you trying to go? And what are the objectives? And I figured out what mattered to them the most. Then I could design a solution that would get them there. So if you don't understand the problem, you cannot provide the solution. The one thing about technology that nobody ever tells you is, if you reboot your computer, usually it'll get fixed. Kind of like when you're in a bad mood and you take a nap. It's a reboot. If I was gonna avoid the common mistake in marketing, one of the things I would really look at is, how do I actually acquire customers? Where do I invest my money in? Does it matter? Does it make sense? Is there actually a true return of investment? Put your marketing dollars in the place where your customers are looking. When it comes to marketing, I have a partner who's an expert in the mind, and he studies why people have buying patterns. You've been doing marketing all wrong because what you're doing is you're selling your solutions and you're not solving problems. The number one thing people don't use AI for is organizing their day, summarizing their emails, figuring out different ways to be more efficient. They use it for researching dumb topics.